All right, welcome back to another.
What's going on?
Wait, actually, this is our first video on YouTube. So for those who are listening to the podcast, you can also watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
You're gonna see us here in the apartments. We here.
Let's do it.
On the couch.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
For all those who are new, welcome back to the new channel. Welcome back to what we got going on. This is Filling the Gap, where this is our mission statement. Filling the Gap is dedicated to bridging disparities and creating equitable opportunities for all individuals. We believe our mission is to identify and address gaps in various domains. We strive to empower individuals and communities, ensuring that no one is left behind. And together, we can... Hold on. I looked at you because I was so excited. Hold on. And together, we can fill the gap and build a brighter future for all.
For everybody.
For everybody.
Everybody. That's be an old school song back in the day, but it's for everybody. So I'm grateful that, we're able to do this. Our very first one.
Yeah.
So this is cool. This is lit. It's lit.
How you feeling? How do you feel?
I feel good.
I feel like I want to hold
Like,
this
who says that? Jane Brown? I feel good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we good. And I know, again, everyone who's been DMing us and, reaching out to us, want to thank them as well. It means a lot that we have that strong cast of support as we're, launching out in this adventure. Now we're doing videos. So again, make sure you stay connected. You can look at me on social media, Clarence_Brookins. And what's yours?
Malik_Brookins.
Yeah. So I think we said we're going to get into talking about influence today. We talked about trauma. We've talked about entitlement, which was a big one. Last time we talked about words. And words hurt.
This is a big part of life.
Yeah.
Everybody got an opinion. Everybody going to say something.
Always. And then there's always, like we said before, they talk about sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, but words do hurt.
Yeah, they do.
Words carry power. And then that's going to lead us into today talking about the sphere of influence. And when you think about influence and the sphere of influence, that's important because we now have to not only talk about words, but words coming from people that we look up to.
Right.
Or people that we want to mimic or emulate, or they are role models that have a great influence on us, even if they may not know it. See, that's to me key. Some people may know they are, influencing us,
right,
and that we, they're our role models, but there's others who don't. So we have to be careful too of our words that we say, because they do influence the behavior and mindset of other people. Yeah,
it's crazy because when we talk about influencing the people that we have around us, this is so prevalent and so spot on, because today I was doing a devotional, because I do devotionals on TikTok in the mornings at 7:15, and like the Holy Spirit led me to Mark, I think it was like Mark chapter 2, verse 1 through 12, and it's talking about the paralytic man and his friends brought him. His friends brought him to Jesus.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, who is the people around you? Like who in the times of need are gonna like have faith to know that you're going to make it through, right?
That's
what it says, because it says because of your faith. And Jesus is just like, your sins are forgiven, and it's just like, dang, who is in your sphere of influence, who like really believe and are both like, you have the same goals, the same mindset to continue even when times get hard or tough.
Yeah, that's deep. You said that, because that flows right into what we're talking about. But when you even think about that, since you open up that door, I'm gonna go there now.
Okay.
Sometimes it doesn't even matter what you're going through, because like you said, if you're down for whatever you may be dealing with or a person is dealing in their life, if you have people around you that can lift you up or carry you to your place of breakthrough, then that's powerful. Because when you think about that whole situation with the 4 men, he couldn't walk by himself.
Mm-mm.
They literally had to carry him, and then they had to break through an atmosphere to place him down into the place of his breakthrough. So sometimes it's good to have people around us who, no matter what we're dealing with, can hold up our arms, help us get through a situation, and then make sure we get our breakthrough before we leave.
Right.
That's deep.
Because they said they bust through the roof to lower him down.
Yeah.
Because it was so packed in there.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
That's crazy. So my thing is it important then to have people around you that can break through for you when you can't break through for yourself?
Yes. Yes. 1,000%. Because I'm like, if you're not strong enough, how you gonna do it?
Yeah.
Like you gotta have, and I'm like, this is going beyond family, right? Because we're not even talking about
yeah,
family.
because that wasn't even related to him.
Right. We're talking about like friends, people who like rocking with you, like who say they rock with you, who gonna really be there, even when times get tough or you're paralyzed or in a situation where you can't do it. Like, are they still gonna, be your dogs and like get you through it?
Yeah. That's truth, and it's important because no matter what we go through in life, everybody needs that road dog. Everybody needs that ride or die. Everybody needs someone that will keep them accountable, whether they're right or wrong. Because we want to be hanging around people that are either where we are or they've accomplished what we're desiring to accomplish so we can keep moving forward. I think part of our problem is, and we're talking about generational gap, is that somewhere down the line, we started looking at, or part of the generation started looking at more of the materialistic things and how to just get it, as opposed to really submitting to someone to help mentor them to it. That's good. And, as opposed to trying to stop people in the back, trying to, get it this way or that way, be patient, learn the game, be submitted, stay connected, wait for your opportunity, because if your mentor or mentee or the people you're with see you progressing, then it's inevitable that the door one day is going to be open. Yeah.
Even with influence, it's like, that's good, because I'm like, there has to be a consistency to what you're doing. Yeah. Right. I feel like it's been hard because TikTok has been making it seem like everything is overnight. Like, you can post a video, you wake up with 50,000 followers. Like, there's been like this hot pocket, kind of outlook when it comes to influence, but it's like, no. Sometimes people get this influence and they get into a position where they think they're the stuff, but you don't know what you're doing. Like, you don't have no idea of what you just tapped into. Yeah. But with consistency, you build it, and you build a following that loves you for you. And it's not just something that someone can take away because they gave to you, So it's just like over time building that consistency aspect.
Not only building that consistency aspect, but making sure that as you're building, are you building in a positive way or a negative way? So when you talk about your sphere of influence, how are you being influenced and how are you influencing other people?
Right. I think that's important.
The time they coming to do the grass.
I know. I was like, I'm looking at it like.
Probably not. But thank you for joining in. Hey, y'all, for those who don't know, that is my beautiful wife. She's in the background cheering us on.
Right. I mean, we don't even know if they can hear it or not.
But I don't know, but hey, we doing it live.
Yeah, but even when it comes to influence, wait, what was the last thing you said?
Positive or negative influence?
Oh, yeah. It definitely depends on the person, because there's some people that just, all they post is sad stuff, and that's just, like how everybody always talking about what's your niche, like you need to find your niche. Yeah, like some people's niche is like sad content, like that's all they like live, is just sadness.
Well, let me ask you this question, since we again we're talking about the differences in generations, and with your generation, let me ask this question: do you think that it's really super important that does your generation, let me phrase it like this, does your generation take to heart more so what people say to influence them to do good or to do bad, or does it matter?
I think in general, this generation takes it to heart. Okay. Like, even when it comes, since we're talking about influence, when it comes to social media and even seeing comments and certain things, it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have posted this, or maybe I shouldn't have said this. And it's like, you're letting people's opinions, dictate what you do. And you kind of do take it to heart, because it's like, oh, this person is saying I look like this, or this person doesn't like when I wear this. And you have all these people who don't really know you, right? But you're taking their opinions into account because, quote unquote, you're making content for them. If that makes sense? Yeah. And that's kind of how I was until I got to the place where I was like, dang, like I want to make content for me and like stuff I enjoy doing, like me going to the movies by myself and recording that. And it's like, dang, that was something I really enjoyed doing. and not just making videos for the sake of making videos to just put them out there, you know?
And I think too, part of the challenge has been over the years is social media, period. Because, you know, my day and age, when I was growing up, we didn't have such a big social media outlet. You know, we had, when I was growing up, we had pagers, we had beepers, you know, we didn't have cell phones like that. You know, a lot of things we didn't have that this generation does, which I can see has a greater influence, be it negative or positive, on you guys' generation and upbringing. So when we were coming up, you know, we heard what other people would say, but we didn't take it to heart because we didn't naturally see things on TV 24/7 or have it in our disposal every single day like you guys do. I mean, now it's 24/7. I mean, it's nonstop. Don't cut off. People posting all times of night, and it's like your brain is just absorbing all of this negative, positive, whatever it is. And it's so crazy because I remember a couple of years back, you know, when you know, you guys are high school and stuff, they got so many different apps. So many stuff you never even heard of. I mean, I had a hard time trying to keep up with Snapchat, whatever else, you know, Kicks, all the
Kicks. Now
stuff.
You got Instagram and Threads. They the same thing, but it's an app inside of an app. It's like so many different things that I'm pretty sure y'all didn't have at all. I think y'all had like Facebook, MySpace, maybe. I know for sure MySpace. Then what was after MySpace for y'all?
I think that was it. I think MySpace, we went to Facebook, I believe. But either way it go, not like it is now. Now that even with TikTok, they got the new, what you said, Thread. They got so much other stuff that's out that now is causing young people to hide. You know, try to cover and sneak and you know, they're losing their identity and being influenced by so much of social media that they don't even know who they are. And that's part of, you know, what I see. That's a big difference as far as my generation to yours is that at least when we grew up, we had a sense of identity or a sense of certain reverences of fearing our parents and being influenced by their words as opposed to our friends. You know, this generation, there's a lack of reverence because of what's influencing them to believe and to do. You know, when it comes to a point where you don't reverence, you know, the law or reverence your guardians and you're more intrigued and influenced by hip hop or rappers, that make you think that this is a real lifestyle, this fast and glamorous way of living, then Houston, we got a problem. And I see that's what's happening, that there's so much out here that influence so many young people because young people don't know who they are.
Like I'm thinking about just in like a natural sense, if you're talking about like the hood or something, it's like, you know, if you don't obey the law, like you're going to jail. You're going to get arrested.
Without a doubt.
I'm like, and then, you know, especially being from Chicago, you got people who have like a false identity of like, oh, I'm not gonna make it out of here. Like this is where I'm born. I'm gonna live, I'm gonna die. You know, like, you know, people that's like that got that mindset that's like they don't know what else is out there. Like there's a whole broader world that's out there for you to go do something. But you get people that's trapped by this mindset of, oh, I need to sell weed, or I need to go sell drugs, I need to do this to get money or to create this certain type of lifestyle, which is not the case. And that's like, you know, peer pressured in high school, and you're just being mixed in with the wrong crowd. But like even that is just another lie, you know. But it does go back to knowing the truth, and it does stem back to what your purpose is, what your destiny is. Like, who are you? Like, you know, and finding identity in, you know, God, you know, foremost.
And I think you said something very important. Who are you? And I think that we need to have more people who influence people to take time to know who they are and encourage them to build off of that principle so that they can, at that point, begin to find people that are like-minded to influence them to go higher. So let me ask you this question. You having a taste of that arena.
Okay.
What would you say has been your biggest challenge as a young entrepreneur and influencer coming up to your generation?
Problem in what way? Just like things that I've like struggled with on the journey.
Struggle with?
Oh, for sure, comparison. Because there's so many, it's a saturated field. Like there's a lot of influencers and creatives that are now like putting themselves out there to go do something. And comparison is a big thing because you see, some people who are in your field who are doing what you're doing, and it's like, oh, I like what they do, and they got this many amount of views, and it's like, okay, what can I do to get that same thing? And it's a game. It's for sure a game where it's just like you try to outdo somebody else, or you're just trying to do this, and and it goes back and forth. And it's like I had to come to like an understanding of like, dang, what is my motive behind me doing this? I think you said something so prevalent in the last podcast. You said like, what is your why?
Yeah.
Like, why do you do this? And I had to get back to finding the why of like, why I did social media in the first place. Yes, just to lead people towards the kingdom and that, but also like this is an outlet for me to, show my life, show my family, show different things. And I had to kind of refine that. I feel like I still am finding that and finding like my rhythm in it too.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question. How do you think you have influenced this generation?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I know a lot of people have reached out, DM, people have even come to the church ministry, even this past week, so people are watching, people are looking. So, how do you think that sphere of influence has, number one, encouraged you to continue, and then two, help be a blessing to those that are reaching out to you and thanking you for what you post and what you do?
I think encouragement is for sure hearing the feedback of it and like what people are saying. And I think that's amazing because it makes me feel like, okay, people are hearing what I have to say. I feel like how I have influenced it. I feel like I'm doing stuff on the app that nobody's really doing as far as like, I've seen some people do devos and this and that, but it's like the consistency of, I'm going to wake up at 7:15 a.m. and do devos. I'm going to go live. I'm going to go post vlogs and do different things. And it's just like, I want people to see the genuineness and the authenticity of like me. And I feel like I've heard a lot of people say that to me where it's like, dang, the relationship that I have with you has been nothing but genuine because a lot of people have wrong motives for why they do what they do. Yes, it is a business and, it's a personal brand and whatever else, but these are still people you're talking to at the end of the day and that deserves to be treated like human beings and not just another number.
Right.
And that's kind of the main thing is like, you want people to not only feel you and like feel seen, but also be heard in so many different areas. So that's what I try to do.
So in other words, too, what you're saying is that the sphere of influence can go both ways.
Yeah.
Because what we're talking about too, we can influence others, but also others that we influence can be an influence to us because they encourage us to continue to do what we're doing.
Right.
So it works both ways.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, that's what's needed because when you're doing what you're doing or we're doing what we're doing, even when I'm ministering, I'm preaching and, I get a revelation, God gave me a word. It's like, I don't know about that, but I'm going to go out there and do what God say do, not knowing if it's affecting people, not knowing if it's helping people, not knowing if it's really influencing people, but you're trusting what you're doing because you feel it and you know that's who you are.
Right.
But it is so encouraging when people come back to you and they be like, that was for me, or that changed my life, or because of that word, this happened to me, or because of your song, this is what happened, because of your prayer, this is what happened. So I think too, we can't take it for granted, the opportunities to, influence other people that are struggling in areas or that need an example or that light, because to whom much is given, much is required.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're right. If we're in ourselves, we'll take for granted the position we're in to really help other people, no matter if it's just 2 people or if it's 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people. You growing a little bit up there. You get numbers up there. So it's like God is trusting you in your expansion, but there's a weight that comes with that. There's a cost.
Right.
And a lot of times people want to influence, people want to be in certain arenas, but they don't count up the cost.
How would you, so I'm gonna flip it on you. Like how would you take this from a pastor point of view of influence and starting a church and being kind of, the head pastor and the influence in that, kind of arena.
That's
Because that's a whole different thing than, social media. But I'm pretty sure it still kind of ties in together when it comes to, just influence in general.
it does. And that's a good question too, son. Very good question. But no, I can't take it for granted. Especially when God says to do it again. We built in Chicago, established, planted all over, but now we're here in Florida doing it again. And to see what God is doing with the way He's building has been mind blowing. It's consistent growth, teaching, disciplining, just pouring out into the people. But one of the key elements to what I do, and I know I've seen what you do and how we all influence people, is the compassion and the love that goes into it.
Right.
People know when you're real.
Mm-hmm.
People know when you're phony. People know when you're shady. People who have a discernment, and people who are spiritual or in tune, or even got street sense.
Right. They know.
Let's just keep it plain and basic. Those who got street sense know if you run a game, know if you for real or not. And I think what has separated us from the pack is our love and compassion for people, great, small, indifferent. And that's what makes us so unique, because we're able to draw such a diverse group of young people, or people in general, that we're able to influence.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. How can your life impact other people, with the gift that you have to make a difference, if not just one person? And I think, pastoring and having a phenomenal wife, by my side, and you and Melody, us as a family unit, makes a difference, because now you're giving the people more than just one person to see.
Right.
And as we're consistent at what we're doing, the influence spreads, because it's not just my life they see, it's your mom's life, your life, your sister's life. And then they start seeing lives of other people connected, and so forth and so forth. Because the word says charity starts at home and spreads abroad. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the key element, even to what you're doing, influencing, you got to love what you do.
Right.
You got to be compassionate about what you do. You got to have sympathy when what you're doing, because you have to be careful, because those are, like you said, people, in their hearts, in their lives, in their words carry weight that you are influencing. Mm-hmm. And you could say one thing a certain way that can mess them up, put them back in the streets, or cause them to go a different path.
So true.
That they're fighting and struggling not to go down. So, and that's how it is in ministry as well, and when you think about it, what you're doing is ministry,
right?
That's what you're doing. Entertainment. That's one of the mountains of ministry is entertainment. So you're definitely doing what He's called you to do. But when you're influencing, whether it's ministry or, in one of the marketplaces, we have to take our giftings and our talents and our responsibilities serious.
Yeah.
Because it does affect lives. And each life is connected to a tribe. Each life that we influence is connected to a family. So we have death and life in our tongue to cause things to live or cause things to die, simply by how we influence.
Yep. That's good. That's good. And I like, a lot of people don't think about that though. Where it's like, it don't matter how many followers you got. We influence people on the daily.
Yeah.
It can be exactly what you said, just about what you say and how you speak. Like, life and death is in the power of the tongue. Mm-hmm. So it's like you could speak something over somebody and it'd be amazing, or vice versa, and it can be the negative. But it's like, I feel like people don't understand the weight of the words that they carry.
Man, you said something there, because my wife tell me that every single day. She said, babe, you got to watch what you say. And sometimes when you're in the moment, mm-hmm. you don't think nothing of it, even if you may be playing, because of the weight that's on you and because of how high you are. You still have to be careful of what you say in any environment, because people honor or reverence what you say,
right,
to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And it's taken me a minute. It's taken me a minute to know that, or to really pay attention to that, because in my own eyesight, I'm like, whatever, it's just a word.
Yeah.
But then I had to reflect, like, okay, no, there's a tribe under me. My kids, my wife, there's other things. So, words, as we talked about last week, do hurt. Whether, mm-hmm. So we have to be mindful of what we say, mindful of how we release those words. because even our demeanor,
Right.
when we say things, can influence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy. But your demeanor alone, you don't even have to say no words. It's just the way you look.
Exactly.
Can influence something in a negative or positive way.
How you look, how you walk, how you go about a situation. You know what they say, actions speak louder than words.
Even when you're texting, you got to sometimes call somebody because they're looking in the text and reading the text wrong, especially if you put it all in all caps or exclamation points on the end.
That texting is dangerous because it don't give you no emotion and like what the person is saying. Like, I remember, it's so funny, Key and Peele had this skit where they were like texting each other, but someone was taking it like in a nice way, and then someone was taking it in an angry way, and he was going back and forth. And it's like you have no idea, like through texting, like how somebody is gonna interpret like what you're trying to say.
And see, that's what I'm saying about the power of influence. It's fear influence. If somebody's looking up to you to that degree, that even your texting can influence them in a negative or positive way, that's powerful. Yeah, that's dangerous, but it's powerful.
It is. Yeah.
Because it's like, dang, you got all that from a text? That ain't what I was trying to say. But, that's what happened. But hold up. And my wife, I'm going to put it out there again. She'll be like, no, man, we need to call. Don't text. Just call the person. I'm like, babe, you're right. Let me just call them. Because if I text this and it's not what I'm meaning, that's how they're going to take it because of how they reverence or look up to you, or how you influence them. Mm-hmm. So even us as influencers, pastors, leaders, we definitely have to be sensitive to what we say, what we post, because even content is important. Even just putting stuff on social media is important because it carries weight. Yeah, it carries a lot of weight. But let me ask you a question. What do you think has influenced you the most to continue to do what you're doing?
That's a good question. What has influenced me the most?
Or better yet, who has encouraged you? Since we're talking about sphere of influence, who are some people who help to encourage you not to quit, to keep going? Because you brought it up first about the man who was paralyzed. The 4 people came and they, took him to this place of breakthrough. So who would you say has helped you to continue to be influenced to go higher, not to give up, not to throw in the towel, to continue to go even harder?
I think the people who I talk to on the app, on different apps, they kind of encourage me a lot. Like, they send me letters, they send me different things. Like, people are like, oh my gosh, I love the YouTube video you just put out, or I love such and such that you just put out. And it was like really like amazing, and it spoke to me. People at church community, they reach out to me and they say, I love what you just did for this. Stay encouraged. Like, it doesn't have to be friends per se, but just like, for me, it's been the different communities and where I've seen people have been impacted. There are some social media friends that I have who have reached out and have been like, yo, I love this video. Keep doing these type of styles. So it's just been that, like, the people that reach out and that encourage you to keep going has helped me a lot to keep going, and want to grow my craft and be better and be disciplined and be consistent within doing it.
Yeah. So do you think those who influence you help you to be more comfortable with your identity and the things that you're called to do?
Yeah, for sure. Not in the sense where you're taking what they say and running with it, because it should come from God, and he should be the one you're finding identity in, and not people's words and what they're telling you to do. But it is an encouragement and has helped along the way to continue to go.
Okay, cool. I like that. Man, I think
no, we gotta put it back on you as a pastor. What? Who are the people in your life? Because pastors have other pastor friends and other things. Who, like, in your life, who has influenced you to keep going?
I know it was the blood. Power of influence. Who has influenced me over the years growing up? Of course, my family. I never forget, my dad will always encourage me never to quit. Right. When it came to me playing the drums, I got so frustrated many times. I'm like, I'm done. It was he said, no, I'm not gonna let you quit, because if you quit over this, you'll quit over that. Yeah. So that was a big encouragement that he didn't let me quit. And as I got older, of course, my grandfather, who retired in ministry, and then of course my wife got married, biggest cheerleader, greatest influencer, greatest encourager. And then when I had you and Melody, another big boost and lift to me being encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things when you talk about influencing, it's not always those that's above you or that you look to be like. It's also those that in your tribe that pushes you and encourages you, like you said, to keep going.
Right.
No matter what you're going through, it's not about you anymore. It's about those you influence,
Mm-hmm.
those that you're accountable to. And one of the things as influencers, pastors, leaders, whatever roles we play, that's a key element to continue to go higher, because you're now serving and you're serving others that you are now accountable for, whether you want to or not. Anytime you influence in any capacity, you're accountable to those that mimic you, emulate you, desire to be like you, walk in your footsteps. And that's either good or bad, and that's something that we have to all take into consideration.
Yeah.
So for me, those were the ones who, kept me going and still keep me going. Every single day need to be encouraged so you can continue to influence other people, because every day there's new challenges.
Mm-hmm.
The excitement you had yesterday, you may not necessarily have that excitement today, but you are excited.
Yeah.
Maybe not on that level, so different things happen. Life happens.
Yeah.
So you still have to find, like you said, that niche, find that level that will continue to keep you focused no matter what's going on around you. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about the tribe. It's about those that are waiting for me to get on, waiting for me to send a text, waiting for me to do a prayer, waiting for me to have Bible class, waiting for you to go live.
Mm-hmm.
There's people around this world who will only hear our voice and not anybody else's, because they're assigned to us. And that's one of the things we have to be mindful of as people, that everybody's not going to listen to everybody. Everybody may be alive to hear somebody, but everybody is designated to somebody.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure that that person that's attached to us, we're leading them the right way. We're influencing the right way. So, those are the ones for me: my family, grandfather, my wife, my kids.
That's good.
Yeah. And now my tribe, ministry, and business, so
just keeps growing.
It's growing. It's growing. Yeah. So that's what it's been for me, for us.
For us, yeah.
Because we in it together. And not only that, you influence me, man. You influence me, man. Son, you influence me. But that's a good thing too, because I look at all that you're doing and it encourages me, influences me to continue to do what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Iron sharpens iron. So it's like we piggyback off each other to, help not only learn, but also to, do the things to fill in the gaps between our generations and continue to press in. So I think every day should be something's going to happen to influence. Every day something's going to happen to continue to cause us to go higher in the things that we were born to do.
Right.
And that's good. Like you said, your sphere of influence, who's helping you, who's carrying you, who's pushing you to be the best version of who God has called you to be. So
that's it.
Yeah. So, hey, I think that's
good.
That's a good spot. I think too that, if you can take one thing away from today or reflect over a thought for today, and you prepare for your next TikTok or your next video, what do you think should be one of your motivating factors?
I feel like one of my motivating factors. I think I would think like, who is this for? Mm-hmm. Or like, who am I trying to reach with this video? Or it could be, I'm trying to promote like this. Mm-hmm. Like before y'all came, I was recording a video of me putting this together and like showing the podcast. And it's like, there's the intention of like what am I trying to do? Am I trying to reach people for the kingdom? Am I trying to, show them like this is a, podcast? But I feel like everything surrounded around me is kingdom based, and for ministry. So I think that's kind of what I would think about is who is it for?
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. And one thing is, since you mentioned kingdom based, we have to keep in mind that, even Jesus, when his influence also came by him meeting the need of the people first, clothing them, healing them before he even opened up the door for salvation.
Yeah.
So I think us meeting the need, or you meeting the need through your ability to influence and encourage, is step number one. Because how can we draw anybody if we can't influence them?
That's good.
So
y'all write that down. Y'all listening, write that down.
I think with that, that's
it.
That's it. I can't go into. That's it. I mean, that speaks for itself.
Yeah. So y'all, thank y'all for joining us in our first YouTube and another podcast video. Come back. We're gonna try to be doing these weekly.
Yeah.
As much as possible. For social media, remember to reach out to us. Send us ideas, things you want us to talk about, what you want to hear about. We're so open to, what you want to listen to. And also, follow us, DM us. We just got to fill in the gap. Instagram and newly YouTube and whatnot.
DM us, reach out to us. Again, you can reach us on social media, our platforms, Clarence_Brookins.
Malik_Brookins. Share it too. Share it to anybody. Your mama, your dog.
Subscribe.
Grandparents.
Connect.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Be family. We family, y'all.
Y'all know what to do.
All right. Be blessed.
See ya.